Yeah. All right. Okay. So I want to give you guys a scenario. Thank you for that, James and Laurie. And I very much appreciate everything that you've provided so far. And I'll give you a scenario. I have a laptop here. I'm going to Starbucks. I connect to a public Wi-Fi.
Nope.
Why not?
No,
I
just
do it all the
don't.
time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's part of the problem. So let me ask you something. Does it use a password when you connect to that Wi-Fi?
Sometimes at Starbucks, no, because I saved it on my computer. But yes, it asks for a password, but it's some mundane password.
It asks
Okay,
you
but
to it asks you to click a license or like accept their agreement, but there's no password on that.
Yeah.
It's wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a
So
whole
what's the
class
problem?
of attacks. Well, okay, so there's a device that's been generated for this specific purpose, although it is not required to conduct the attack. The attack can be conducted with something as simple as a Raspberry Pi Zero, which is a very small computer, very cheap, small computer. They're about $10. But the actual device designed for this purpose is called a Wi-Fi Pineapple. And you can look up Hack 5 Wi-Fi Pineapple and you'll find it right away. Its whole purpose, like when you connect to open-ended Wi-Fi, your phone never forgets that Wi-Fi, ever. So it will constantly, as you're walking around, even if you're in India, it'll constantly go, hey, is Starbucks Wi-Fi out there? Hey, is Starbucks Wi-Fi out there? And as soon as it finds it, as soon as a device says, oh yeah, that's me, hi, it will automatically connect. The whole purpose of that pineapple is to say, yep, that's me, to anything. And then your internet traffic is going through me. So I just sit at Starbucks all the time and just like set this thing up in my knapsack and just see who connects to it. You can even cause
Authentication?
Yes, please. Thank you. Attacks against anyone who is connected so that they'll deconnect from the real network that they're supposed to be connected to and possibly connect to your network instead.
Yeah, you get them to knock them off so they try to reconnect.
Exactly. And then once they're all connected to you, you can listen to all that traffic, whatever it is.
That's pretty crazy. So if you're doing, can you get into their computer? Like
that depends. That really depends on what they're doing. It's possible.
And I'll give you some examples. Like if people really need to update their software, when it says software update, if you're still running Mac OS El Capi 10, you need to sort that. If you're still running like Windows Vista,
just no.
Boy,
just no.
You might want to sort that out because there's the newer software, they patch the vulnerabilities. The older software, the vulnerabilities are well known, right?
Yeah. There's even some like some of the earlier versions of Windows 10 aren't being updated anymore. I don't remember the details of it, but they have like they do these refreshes of Windows 10, but the older ones they're not actually being maintained anymore. They want you to bump it up, but some computers don't automatically upgrade because they might have some printer driver or something that's preventing it from doing it. But one thing you're talking about, like if the traffic's flowing through some man-in-the-middle attack where somebody's pretending like they're your Wi-Fi router, so they get to see all the traffic that flows through your, that they get to see all the traffic that your internet service provider would see. One thing you can do to mitigate that is to use a VPN. There's some good ones that are even free, Proton. Like if you go to like the Proton Mail, you can create like a nice secure email account, and they offer a free VPN that you can use. It's somewhat limited where you can choose it from where you're coming from, because like when you connect to a VPN, you're connecting to some other computer, and all your traffic flows through that computer first before going out to the internet. And some of these VPNs will let you say connect from Chicago or let you connect from England or whatever. So like the free version has limited places you can say you're connecting from, and if you pay for it, you can connect from just about anywhere in the world. You have to trust your VPN provider because your traffic's flowing through them. But at least if there was a man-in-the-middle attack, all of your traffic going through is encrypted, so they just get gibberish.
So if you have to, please use VPNs every time you connect to those networks. And if it's not working for some reason, then maybe something's up. But
I've heard some people say when you use a VPN, you're transferring the trust. You're simply transferring the trust from your internet service provider to the VPN provider.
you are, but that's not the threat you're mitigating against. So every time you employ something to your security architecture, you are defending against specific types of attacks. So you're not trying to avoid your ISP in the case where you're at Starbucks just trying to get access to your Gmail. You're trying to avoid the random idiot like me who's sitting there with a pineapple. And because of that, yeah, the VPN will do that just fine.
That will prevent the man-in-the-middle attack from the local public Wi-Fi, which a lot of people have to use. If you're budget limited, resource limited, or sometimes the only internet I have that I can get to is public Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And so if you're on public Wi-Fi, you can use a VPN because you don't know who the ISP is for that Wi-Fi. You don't know if there's someone sitting with a pineapple. So the VPN, if you use Nord VPN or Kaspersky VPN or any of those well-known providers, you're putting your trust in that well-known provider as opposed to some random, you have no idea what's on that network because everything going across is dead encrypted. So if you're using an exchange, typing in passwords, or your computer could be compromised, at least the VPN gets you to someone you can trust or you think you can trust.
You trust more than the people around you at the cafe, shall we say. Yeah. It's at least that.
Yeah, because that applies to any public Wi-Fi, right? Libraries, anything.
Yeah, anything
McDonald's.
At all. Anything that's not your home Wi-Fi. Yeah. Or your work, you know.
Or if he knows your home address, he might sit outside your house. But
but even then, you should have a WPA2 passphrase on your home Wi-Fi. And it's if your computer has the passphrase saved, like if it has a record of only that Wi-Fi with a password, then it won't try to connect to it without it. It'll try to connect to it with it, and that'll just never work. It'll just keep trying to negotiate the handshake forever.
If you want to get crazy with it, you can also, in your router, you can specify like a whitelist of the MAC addresses of devices that are allowed to connect as well.
Yes.
So you can kind of, tighten things up.
And if you are technically able to do that, I recommend it, and I'm sure James does as well. But like most people might end up messing up their network, so be very careful. Because if you whitelist only one MAC address and it's wrong, then you won't be able to connect it to it via Wi-Fi again until you.
Yeah, you have to plug in a cable to get into it.
So be careful, But yes, if you can do it, if you're capable, then yes, absolutely whitelist the addresses. No blacklist. Do not blacklist things. Whitelist only.
Yeah, allow only what you want. And
so by default, deny all, allow known.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And you use a cable to plug into your router if you can. Like if your computer, if you have a laptop and you want to sit on the sofa, obviously it's not going to be very convenient. But I use desktop computers, and so I actually just have cables running into a switch that connects to the router. So those computers, the computers that I use for everything that's I'm concerned about, doesn't even broadcast over a wireless network, which just makes it that much more safe.
Okay, so plug in with a cable if you can. Reduce the attack surface of the Wi-Fi. That sounds like a good plan. And what was the name of that one more time? The latest type of Wi-Fi authentication, the type of encryption. What should we be using?
I'm not sure what the latest is, but currently most routers are deployed with WPA2.
Okay. All right, WPA2 or whatever the latest best is, because it's probably going to work better. The other ones are.
Yeah, Wi-Fi 3 is coming out, and already vulnerabilities are found in it. So we're really not sure where this is going to go. But currently, most routers are going to be deployed with WPA2, and that for the most part is pretty good. One other thing to note is that there are attacks against the WPS button that you press and connect devices to, like printers. If you can disable those, that would be good. Because a while back, a pixie dust attack was possible against WPS, and the router was just listening for those kinds of things, and you could just connect to it via that, and it considerably reduced the time to be able to get into a network. But I'm not sure if most routers are still vulnerable to that or not. But it's something to keep in mind that other functionalities can bring your network down as well.
That brings up a point too. Is like the routers have software need to be updated as well. So if you keep your Windows or whatever up to date, you also have to think that your router also needs to be updated. And some routers have the option to let where they can automatically update, but you probably should check to see if it's running an outdated version, because even the most high end routers have had problems where somebody can just come in from the outside. You have it configured perfectly, and they still skate in.
Because hard-coded passwords or whatever in the firmware, you never know.
A lot of times I think the U.S. government's at fault for that too.
Yeah.
They get like Cisco to put backdoors in, and then somebody finds it.
And we go nuts searching for this kind of stuff. This is the world we live in, where your fridge has like a little computer in it that's talking to the internet, and you have to be super careful. They're putting meters for power and gas usage, smart meters in there with computers that connect to the internet. Everything is a computer now, even cars. And we have to think about that when we're dealing with this stuff, because your car is definitely going to have your Wi-Fi password. Is it vulnerable? Can I shut your brakes off? Turns out, yep. For some models of cars, yeah.
Wow. Man, that's pretty amazing. You're making me paranoid, but that's okay. I'm a little bit
welcome
paranoid.
Welcome to our world.
It's like spy versus spy stuff. It's pretty cool. Let's go. I want to go on to our next big chunk of individual users' devices, and that's mobile phones. All right, here I got Yoroi on my iPhone, and what should I be doing to keep it safe? Can I just install any app right here off the App Store, like this one that's called?
No. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
why not? Why can't I do that?
Because you can never just do that. The answer is always no when you say, "Can I just?" The answer is no.
But I like playing games. What about this game that's called Yoroi game? Oh, that might be a virus. There was, on a serious note, on the desktop computers, there was somebody posting a daedalus.zip file in Telegram and saying, "Hey, here's the latest security update to Daedalus." And people downloaded that.
Oh God!
It was a very, very targeted software program. It goes after the location of the private key, and it watches you to enter a password. When it did, bam, it had everything it needed to steal your funds, and it happened. At least based on reports. I can only go based on what I've seen in Telegram, and I've seen that happen in Telegram. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. We'll make sure we put links to the proper websites down below in the section. In this video, we'll put the proper official links. I know everybody wants, decentralized. We can't have official. You need it. You got to have official.
Never follow a link. Even like, even if I get an email or like when you post a link below, I still won't follow it. Use it as information. Like you can click on it and bring it up and see it. But whenever you know that you want to update something, go find where it actually is, and don't click on a link, because somebody could change that link. And so this your video account gets hacked, somebody changes the link, and then it goes somewhere else, and it's just got like a slight misspelling in the domain name or something, and boom, you're downloading the wrong thing. So it's like try to navigate to what is the real original source for it, and then pull it off of there. Because it's easy to get tricked.
Yeah, develop a sort of plan for things. Like if I were going to download an update from IOHK, for example, or something, I would start looking at the company and how they generally release software, like over time. Well, what do they usually do? What would be abnormal? So if IOHK always updates Jormungandr on the GitHub page, and I know where that is, then I'm not going to download something off Telegram that says, the latest implementation of Jormungandr is right here. No, because the company never updates via that way. It raises red flags. So if you have an adequate MO for the company you're talking about in your mind, you'll gain these sorts of early detection systems in your head. And that's really good to implement for anything, including Windows, including anything else. Email is one of the most archaic forms of communication we still have today, apart from regular mail. That a lot of people don't understand that, you know, there are servers out there that literally validate nothing about a message. You can claim you are anyone. You can send to anyone. You can post a link and then have the text that shows up as the link, and they can be different. So and you know this because you hover over links with your mouse, and they're completely different than what's appearing there on your email. And this is a huge reason why spammers are still a thing. And, like, has anyone ever wondered why we haven't kicked them off the internet? It's because of this. Yeah, you can impersonate anything with email, so long as you have the right server to relay it to.
I've had too much fun impersonating email. You know, you need special software for it. You know, if you know the commands to type into the email server directly, you just tell it into it, and you can say, okay, it's from, you know, whoever you want to be from. Oh, they're
WhiteHouse.gov.
Actually, did that. I've actually done that. President at WhiteHouse.gov.
Yeah.
So someone impersonated me on Telegram asking people for ADA.
Oh yeah,
I spent too much time on Telegram. They're like, oh, they know this idiot, so they impersonated me. They took my image, my avatar, and made my name. But if you click on the username, it's a totally different username, and said, hey, give me ADA. But people in Telegram go, oh, that guy doesn't ask for ADA, so they caught him and booted him out. That's just an example.
But even verification methods are not foolproof. For example, Charles Hoskinson. The actual Charles Hoskinson is not verified on Twitter. And this was a huge debate for a little while, right? Because if you look up his name, there are several accounts of him. And they all have the same avatar and the same bio and everything like that. So the OSINT is there, but like the actual person, Charles Hoskinson, could be a random Twitter account that you don't really know. So you would have to go back into the history of the user to see whether or not it is in fact the real guy.
But even with authentication on Twitter, I mean, didn't Jack get hacked the other day? And that
was that was an SMS exploit.
Okay.
So somebody sent messages, you know, pretending to be his cell phone number, and you know, so the messages came through SMS, posing as from his phone, and then Twitter went ahead and published them. Yeah.
Okay.
So they didn't actually get into his computer, but there was a way around it. But you know, like the blue check mark on Twitter isn't even if you had that, it's not necessarily proof, because
exactly,
you can get an account that has a blue check and rename it. People actually have done that. I've seen that before. You know, it's like I saw like one like really aggressive example where like Elon Musk had posted something, and then so it's in a thread where, you know, he's actually having a conversation. Somebody had a blue checkmark account that they renamed Elon Musk and replied into that saying, you know, that he's giving away some Bitcoin. You know, just send some to this address and I'll send you back, you know, 10 times as much. It's like, no, everybody did that. Lost their mind.
Oh God. You know, we call this common sense. You know, early in the program, we touched on updating your software, installing antivirus, good security practices. It's not common sense. You have to assume a zero knowledge base. I know it sounds rude, but it's the only way to protect the new users coming into the system. Because if you're a new user and you get your coins ripped off, are you going to deal with Bitcoin anymore? Are you going to deal with Cardano? No, you're going to walk away. Say no.
Or worse, you continue.
Yeah.
Worse, you continue still doing the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Because whole families will get destroyed like that.